welcome travel entrepreneurs for another session of Group Sales Power Hour. We're going to kick off with some training slides that I hope you'll find interesting, inspiring, intriguing, and doable. One of the things I really try to accomplish in my mission as a business coach and speaker is to give you tips and advice and strategies that are doable, that are easily adaptable, that are habit forming to help you achieve higher levels of success and happiness. So this is my first Power Hour, I think, broadcast back here from my home studio in Memphis. The last session, I think, came to you from Boston, where I spent a couple of weeks celebrating and supporting my daughter and her husband, my son-in-law, and their new baby. Yes, I am a new grandfather. In fact, that's why I get to use my new mug. How awesome is that? My son Zachary got that for me. Cool, right? All right. So a couple of, hey Angela, I'm glad that you're here live. Thank you, I appreciate it. So before I start with the slides, hang on, I'm gonna make that screen go live. Yeah, so you can see that. Let me just fix this here. Good deal. Can you all see that screen? I'd love to be able to say just one of you can just tell me you can see the screen, but if you all do, that's okay. So we're going to start off with some training slides, then we're going to get into the open Q&A, which is the normal business coaching I do. If you're here for the very first time as a new bootcamp member like you, Jennifer, welcome. Glad you're here. Please make sure you let me know. If you're here as my guest today, I posted this in our Group Sales Success Summit Facebook group. It's a holiday week, right? Yesterday was President's Day, and many of you, some of you, a few of you may be on vacation and missed this session. So I said, hey, you know what? Let's just open it up. If you're working today, if you're on vacation this week and you had a spare hour, come and join me. So here's the way it works. You feel free, please, to type in any comments, any questions you have, and I will do my very best. It's just little old me. I don't have anybody supporting me here to read what you say, and I appreciate your comments, questions, and suggestions, because these meetings work great when there's a high level of participation and everyone sort of shares their viewpoint or their experience. The final thing I want to mention is that if you are bold enough to have your microphone or webcam turned on, I can do that just for the asking. So all you need to do is type in, hey, Stuart, you could turn my mic on or you could turn my webcam on, and I will let you know when I'm ready to do it so I don't catch you off guard. Otherwise, let your fingers do the talking. I welcome you here, and let's get started. Let me just make sure. Yes, Hans, Barbara, Angela, Kay, all of you say you can see the screen, so that's great. So let's get started with this training. And, you know, I sort of, I would say a couple of hours before we have our power hours, I decide what training to bring to you. So I base it on some of the issues, questions, concerns, challenges that I see, that I hear that's being talked about in our Group Sales Bootcamp private group. Also, some of the commentaries that are happening in our Group Sales Success Summit group and some of the other groups I'm a member of, that I'm a part of. So I try to keep it contemporary and something that I think would be applicable to everybody. So today, we're going to talk about what happens after the sale. So if my boot campers know, and if you were fortunate enough to join me when I did the re-records, sort of the pre-screening of the new and improved and enhanced group launch sequence, that's where we that's the method the most effective method for selling, for launching to everybody, to get them to sign up, to pay, to go with you on the group. This is fast forward. This is past that. This assumes, friends, that you have already sold. You've signed them up. And now you need to go into service mode, which is almost as critically important as the sales mode, because so many of us, and I say us because while I'm not a practicing travel agent like you, a travel entrepreneur, I run a business too. And if I don't operate efficiently, then I lose sleep at night. I lose money. I lose time. I lose customers. So we're going to talk about how to improve efficiency. And first, let me make clear my premise here. The per person cost, and read this with me, of managing a group booking must be lower than the per person cost of managing an individual booking. Does that resonate? Does that make sense? And if this is kind of moving you right now, because you're like, but Stuart, when I do groups, I don't do much anything different than when I handle individuals, and that's why I'm afraid to take on too many groups. I'm afraid to take on even two concurrently, because I'll pull my hair out of my head trying to keep up with the service calls and the issues and the follow-up that I need to do. Are there better ways? And the answer is yes. Because smarter procedures always produce better results. And in Group Sales Bootcamp, I really try to give you so many ideas for working efficiently so that you can maximize every minute, so you don't stress out, because it can be terribly stressful. Here's another piece of my premise, friends. The agent, that's you, not the guest, is responsible. It's so easy for us to sort of blame the client for driving us slightly crazy. Do you do that? It's our responsibility, not theirs, to make it a simpler process, to make it easy, as I like to say, easy to do business with. You've heard that before. And I want to bring you this quote from Brian Tracy. I'm sure you've read some of Brian's books. Every minute you spend in planning saves 10 minutes in execution. This gives you a 1,000% return on energy. Well, the numbers sure look good. I don't know how we calculated that, but I like the way that sounds. So with that in mind, friends, your mission in group sales at this point is to transition from sales mode to service mode. And if you've seen me speak before during a keynote or a workshop, you know I don't believe in giving good customer service. You need to, you must, it's required if you want to stay in existence rather than go extinct, to deliver loyalty grade service. Because it's really hard being in both modes at the same time with the same group. So understand that right now, that again, as I introduce this concept to you, we're moving here from sales mode to service mode. So repeat after me. This is your mantra. I want to hear you say this now. Number one, I am in control. Because if you don't believe it, if you don't feel it, then your client won't believe it and won't feel it. You need to be convinced that you are in control. Number two, repeat after me. Here we go. Together, actually, I will prove that I am a trusted travel advisor, a leader in my field. And number three, here we go. Say it with me. I will run the group and refuse to let it run me ragged. Keywords there, I will run the group. It's part of taking control. Understand, friends, don't hesitate to assume this responsibility of taking control. Because if the client, the group leader, the organization, the association did not want you to take over, take control, and take the lead, they would have done it themselves. Does that make sense? That's why they hired you. So I'm going to give you 10 plans, 10 habits, 10 tips, 10 strategies to help you work more efficiently, to help you create a sort of a standard operating procedure. Now, these are 10 of about 30. The rest I'm going to, some of them are already in boot camp, but this is actually part of a brand new series, an updated series that I'm going to be adding to boot camp from my boot camp members. But I wanted to bring you at least 10 now while we have time in this power hour. And by the way, if you've just joined us, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you have questions, if you have issues, if you have celebrations, if you have challenges, speaking of celebration, hold on. I want to celebrate a victory for Erin from Cultivating Connections Travel Planner. She's a boot camp member. She said, I have my first real group with a real Pied Piper. Woohoo! It reads better than it sounds. Now I'm going to review the entire bootcamp program again so I get this group off on the right foot. Good for you, Erin. You know, sometimes we get so excited when we get that piece of business we've always wanted. And we take shortcuts. We skip things. We forget to follow the procedure, the process. So I thought that was a great quote for me to share with you when we kick this off, because Erin is now probably in this phase right now. We wish you the very, very best of success. Now, use your tools. What do I mean by that? Some of you are part of Nexion as a host. Some of you are part of Signature or Virtuoso. Some of you are cruise planners, franchise owners. Some of you are Dream Vacations franchise owners. Some of you are with Avoya. I mean, so many of you, and some I don't even know you. You're in Group Sales Success Summit. I'd love to get to know you. You may be fully independent. You may be with Nest, or you may be with a consortia, Travel Leaders Network. I don't know. But I guarantee you all of these organizations offer some kind of a tool for booking. Are you using it? Assuming it has some kind of a group element so that you can manage groups more effectively. I hear this all the time, friends. Travel entrepreneurs complain that it's overwhelming to store all this information. How do you handle it? How do you do it? And you just don't have time to learn something new. Man, if there's one thing I'd like to convince you of today, and that's unplug for a day and learn how to use the new booking tool. I know that, for instance, it just comes to my head, Apple Leisure Group, our friends there, they have very, very robust group management tools. At the very least, use Excel. Are you using Excel to manage your groups? So be ready and don't keep putting those things off. Have templates ready too. Do you have a group agreement letter template, stuff that I've taught you in boot camp, but have you already rolled out your own that you sort of plug and play? Do you have P&L spreadsheets in Excel that you've created, or perhaps your accountant created, that you can just plug and play when that next group arrives? So be ready, friends, to use the tools so that you're not totally freaking out when you get the business of your dreams. Number 2, establish Go teams. I don't have all the time in the world to go into Go team. My boot campers know what I'm talking about. The Go team is what you establish when you get that group agreement letter signed. You need to know who on their team, and it could be one person, it could be multiple people. Who are you going to be working with? Who's responsible for the social marketing? Who's responsible for the email distribution? You need to identify who on their team and your team are going to be responsible for handling particular duties to make this a success. So you want to include all stakeholders on their side and yours. You want to assign accountabilities and responsibilities. And you want to schedule recurring update meetings with these teams. Early on, perhaps you'll have it once every 2 weeks. And as you approach sail away or fly away, if it's a cruise group or if it's a land-based group, you may need to increase the frequency of these meetings. But friends, when you plan this and you become the leader, which is what they hired you to be, you're showcasing your leadership skills, and I guarantee you things will run smoother. There'll be no surprises because everyone will be communicating and be accountable and more responsible. Number 3, I mentioned this before, maintain your P&L spreadsheet. What is P&L? Profit and loss spreadsheet. And maybe this is top of mind for you right now because it's tax season right now, and I just finished mine. It's something I don't enjoy doing, but it's a necessary thing to do. So whether you may be like me, you may find it more pleasurable earning that money than managing it. So get a good accountant. But when it comes to groups, friends, at the very beginning, you should have a spreadsheet set up so that you know where you're making money, where you're not, where you break even points and where you're not. But you need to monitor your pricing models. You need to track all the marketing expenses. Sometimes we get so excited that things are going well that we end up spending more than we need to. And sometimes there are issues that crop up that we end up having to spend money on that we didn't account for in our plan. It needs to be plugged into the spreadsheet. And of course, if you have a group agreement letter and it's already outlined that this is going to be a charge or a fee that the client will assume, then you're covered. But it will certainly help you make more sensible choices, cut losses, maximize margins. Friends, if you're not using some kind of a spreadsheet to track every cost, you need to start now. That's how you operate efficiently and you mitigate losses, mitigate risks. Next up, number 4, publish the payment schedule. Do you do this now? Because the goal, of course, is not to drive you crazy or them crazy with, oh, second payment, third payment, fourth payment, fifth payment is due. You want to, why go down that path? Minimize it. Wouldn't it be great if you could just do a deposit and then the final? And of course, you know this better than me. You need to pad those deadlines. If your cruise line or if your tour operator or if your hotel requires payment on the 4th, the final payment, you don't publish the 4th, you back it up a week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. And friends, listen to this word very carefully, the word consequence. Consequence. What if somebody says, oh, I've been so busy, my kid was sick, or we've been traveling, or it's our anniversary and we didn't have time to get you final. Is it okay if I get it to you next week? Well, no, it's not. Friends, if you publish what the payment schedule is and what the consequences are, if the payment comes in the next day after the deadline, then there's no surprises. It's open, it's accessible. Everyone understands that they will pay an additional whatever or whatever the consequences, publish it. And you need to stay unwaveringly firm. Now that's a big word, a lot of syllables, but I think I said it correctly. You got it? We good? Now, number 5, cement the terms and conditions. Now, you probably have already done this by now going into service mode, because if they've already paid you a deposit, they've had to sign off on the terms and conditions. So maybe this is coming a little bit late, but I want to make sure that you've done this correctly. because you need to, absolutely fully comprehend, understand, and embrace the supplier terms and conditions. And it is your responsibility to make sure your clients have read this and agreed to it too. In fact, so many of our suppliers require the signature, right? Of course, the signature on their terms and conditions. And here's your opportunity to include your own terms and conditions. For instance, like payment schedule and consequences for late payments. And you want to get that signature. This will help you reduce risk and stress. And by the way, you can get an e-signature, right? I don't know if any of you do this today, but you can get a legitimate e-signature if you don't want to deal with faxes and this kind of stuff, which it's amazing I actually still say the word fax. Number 6, clarify inclusions and excursions. Now, if you're doing what I've taught you to do forever, which is to create the more inclusive package, then you probably have more inclusions than exclusions. And friends, I encourage you, hang on, I got to take a sip here. I love chai tea. When you're setting up your package and your pricing scheme, either go all in or all out. And you've got to be very careful of taxes and tips. So you can still go all in and make it more inclusive, and you can still say taxes and gratuities separate, or you can include that. And you can say this price includes taxes and tips. And if you care to provide additional gratuities, that's personal in nature. Friends, eliminate ambiguity, another big word, but trust me, the last thing you want, and you probably know what I'm talking about, is to get that call or that email from somebody saying, but you didn't say that, but you said this, but I didn't know. Well, go ahead and look online, look at that contract or look at what you signed. Make sure you cover your Butsky. Should say CYB. Number 7, utilize online forms. I've talked about this an awful lot. And for those of you in boot camp, you already know this. For those of you in the Group Sales Success Summit, you might know, you might not know. But for instance, when I did my April 2017 partial ship charter of the Ama Christina, it was my group of friends and family. I used online forms to make the process so simple. I collected data brilliantly and effortlessly because it eliminates errors. Because when somebody, and I just did this for the mastermind group, you may know Mike Marshev and we are doing a mastermind for travel entrepreneurs in Moon Palace, Jamaica in late March. We did the same thing. We used these online forms because when somebody fills it out, I don't have to sit there and type it in myself, which would be prone to errors, but they get a copy too, right? So they can see, hey, this is what you sent in, review it, and make sure everything is correct so that there's no issues down the road. You can also capture the e-signature, and it puts an end to the faxes, the cutting and pasting, and the phone calls. So efficient. And number 8, are you publishing next steps? You talk about showcasing your leadership skills. You talk about taking control of your group and making people feel so confident in your professional abilities. When you publish what's next, then you're going to cut down on the number of phone calls, the number of emails, and you'll probably even reduce the number of potential cancellations, because if you're not keeping in touch, if they don't know what's next, they may be getting nervous, they may be getting buyer's remorse, and they may think of canceling perhaps. But if you show them what's coming next and when, you are setting expectations. It's a beautiful thing. Just to prove it, put your consumer cap on. When you buy a new house, when you buy a car, when you buy something and there's a lot of money involved and it's sort of complex, isn't it nice to know that your agent, real estate agent, or the car salesperson, that agent knows the game, and they instill that confidence in you. So you'll dramatically decrease queries and you'll showcase your lead-up skills. Number 9, are you capturing special needs? Now, this is available for my boot campers, but for those of you who took the time to be with me today, right now, as a guest from a Group Sales Success Summit Facebook group, if you would like a link to this so you can see the real special needs online form that I created for my guests, I will share it with you. Just send me an email, please. Send me an email at stuart@stuartloydcohn.com. But friends, it's so important that you keep asking. Keep asking for food issues, physical issues, medical stuff, because you don't want things to come up at the last minute and then you're sort of freakazoid. How do I deal? How do I handle it? And then what do? Then you freak out the supplier. Oh no, we've got somebody who has this issue, who needs this level of support, and they're frantic trying to help you. So you want to look good. You want to put your head on the pillow at night and say, I'm good. We're going to take care of Mr. and Mrs. Jones. We're going to take care of such and such and so forth. Find out and keep asking. Save yourself the headaches, stress, and potential liabilities. And finally, number 10, and again, there's about, 20 or 25 more, but I want to give you just 10 really important ones. Establish rules of engagement. Are you getting calls at all hours of the day? Are you getting emails randomly at all hours of the day? Are you getting Facebook posts or texts of people asking you the same questions over and over? And I've condensed it to this one slide, but there's so many smart strategies, friends, you can do to cut down on this. And as the leader, to take control, you need to train your clients, train them when and where they can come to you to ask questions or find answers that have already been given. Try to use one email address, maybe one special email address that's group specific. You can do that. One website or web page where they can go. Real simple, real easy. One phone number for them to call. And maybe you can customize the voicemail message. And all your social sites, it should be simple, all named the same, all custom. So there's no questioning. Where do I go? Where do I look? Well, here it is. Set your office hours. And when I say set office hours, you may be working 9 to 5, or most of you are working 8 to 7, but tell them specifically when you're available for them regarding this group. Now, in a case of emergency, you can call me anytime or email anytime. However, during these time periods, I'll be focused on our wonderful, magical, incredible upcoming group trip. I strongly suggest that you schedule Q&A. Why do you think I do these power hours every other week? Because I don't physically have time to do one-on-one business coaching for the incredible people in my group boot camp. So if we can sort of schedule this for every other week in the power hours, I can take on the subjects, unless it's urgent, of course. Then my boot campers, you guys and girls know I'm here for you. I'm in your pocket. I'm in your corner. I'm on your side. But scheduling Q&A sessions like this really helps, because then your head's in the game. You're not doing anything else. Look, this is my time with you right now. We're together. And, if it's not urgent, then those clients know, okay, I've got 3 questions I'm going to ask. And I would suggest, like I did with you, encourage them to submit their questions in advance so that you're ready and you're prepared. And if you need to do the research, you'll be done. So to review my premise, tell me if this was helpful. Please let me know. It is very possible and critical to manage groups more efficiently. Inefficiency costs money, errors, wasted time, loss of clients, and loss of sleep. Not very attractive. Efficiency allows you to scale up and do more than one group concurrently. Imagine that. Do this for success and sustainability. So I hope that training was good, because if not, if you don't take action and put in place some new habits, some new practices, then you'll just be praying, oh, I hope this goes well. I hope this goes well. Please let this go well. All right, just a quick review of the upcoming Power Hours. We've got March 3rd, March 17th, and April 2nd. I will attempt to do a live broadcast from Moon Palace, Cancun. I'm going there for the 5th, actually, Nexion Group Sales Summit. That's their group sales summit. I teach like 9 hours of training in addition to all the things that they bring to the table. So this is a time when I'm not on their stage, and I figured, heck, I'm there. Let's have some fun. So I'll broadcast. So you may want to tune in for that. You may have seen me promoting this. I'm humbled that I got a call from this man, Don Hudson. He's truly a celebrity. And the thing is, if you don't recognize his face or his name, I guarantee you've read his books. He's a New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller, and he asked me if I would promote to my followers a sales accelerator program he's got. I'm going to do it. It's $47, okay? And why wouldn't I do it, right? So if you're going to do it, I'll be in there with you too. And if you follow that URL there, go.donhudson.com/Stuart, it will track you so that I'll know you're there, okay? I'll know you're there. And I'll be in that Facebook group participating, and we can talk to, even on the next Power Hour, we could talk about some of the strategies and principles, but I just thought it'd be a lot of fun. So if you go on the Group Sales Success on my Facebook page or the bootcamp page, you'll see this little 3-minute video. I mean, Don is down the road in Memphis, downtown, his office, and I call him and say, hey, Don, do you mind if I drop in and can we record a quick video? So sure enough, I brought my selfie stick that is a mini tripod. I used my iPhone with a microphone that I plugged in, and the quality is amazing. And I was actually nervous because he's a National Speakers Association Hall of Famer. This guy is amazing. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I better get it on the first take, and I did. So it was a lot of fun. So if you want to do that, I'll see you in there. And you probably know that we mentioned this before, Mike and I do this mastermind. It is sold out. It's waitlist only, but I think at this point we're solid. I don't think we can fit anybody. We've got 12 people and 12 people, which is not perfect size. And we'll be in Moon Palace, Jamaica in late March. Very, very excited. That's a group. I'm doing a group, friends. I'm doing a group, and I followed the same group launch sequence principles, all the principles about all the efficiency stuff that I just shared with you. I did and am doing with the mastermind retreat. So, I never preach something that I don't do personally myself. All right, so let me get out of these slides here. Hold on, and hold the phone. Let me get there. Bada bing, by the book. And we're going to stop sharing that, so it's just my absolutely gorgeous, irresistible face, and I'm here with you right now. All right, let me check. Here's what we're going to do now. We got about a half hour left, and I appreciate you being here and hanging with me. I hope that training was helpful for you. If you want, I will post that information. Well, actually, this is going to be loaded up into for replay. But if you want the slides, let me know. I can also publish that in the Facebook groups too as a PDF or something. So what I'm going to do is see if there's any particular questions that have come up here. Then I've got a couple things like from Scott. Hi, Scott. You sent me a really great question I want to handle. And that's going to round out the back half of today. which is your agenda, right here, right now. I mean, what's on your mind? Talk to me, tell me. You know, I'll do my best to help, and I love being challenged with a success. I love being, you know, when I say a success, maybe you've got a great group and it's like, oh my gosh, it's going so well. What do I do next? Or you know, what do I do now that the group has come back? How do I get it again? How do I manage the people? Whatever. Or if it's a failure, we all have failures. Let me know. Maybe I can help. And maybe somebody else who's on this call today can help too. That's what I love. It's called best practice sharing. So this can become, in effect, a think tank, a mastermind for us to share. So pardon me while I sip from my The Grandfather mug. Gail said, thanks for the invite. Glad to be here. Hey, Gail, I am very happy that you're here. Thank you very much. Hope you've been enjoying it. Dan's in the house. Isn't that part of the purpose of having a group? Increase sales, throughput, but less time to make more money and sanity. Yes. So let me read this again, friends. Dan, you're right on the money. That's just it. The whole purpose of having a group, this is what Dan is writing here, is that increase sales, throughput, but less time to make more. It's about efficiency, right? So it comes down to the acquisition cost. I assume you all know what acquisition cost is. Acquisition cost is what the cost is for you to have made that sale. If you brought them in from an advertising campaign, a marketing campaign, well, maybe it was $50 a lead. I don't know. Or maybe you spent 6 hours trying to nail the sale, and I don't know what amount of money you put towards your time. I don't know, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $20 an hour, minimum wage an hour. I don't know. That's part of the acquisition cost. And when it comes to a group, it could be more essential, right, Dan? Which is you're doing, you're in partnership with this organization, association, whatever it is, group leader. And I sure hope it's cost you, look at me, next to nothing to do the advertising, promotions, and marketing, because listen to me again, by definition, an affinity group means that you should never, ever have to spend money on generic advertising. Because by definition, with an affinity group, you know exactly where the prospects are. And if you're working in partnership with them, they should be so willing, so eager, so excited to say, yes, we'll get you in our private Facebook group. Yes, we may not give you our email list or our mailing list, but we'll certainly send out whatever you want. Yes, you can do a Facebook Live broadcast. Of course, there's no charge, Dan, because we want this to be a success. So why would we charge you to advertise, to promote our group to our people? That's kind of bass backwards, if you ask me. So thank you, Dan, for enunciating the porpoise, also known as the purpose. Nancy said, hello, Stuart, welcome home. Have a success and a scary story if you have time. All right, Nancy, hold on. Let's see how we do with time, because I know that you are courageous with the microphone. So I appreciate that, Nancy. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. Sheila said, is there an example of a P&L spreadsheet? I tend to be very disjointed with all the bits and pieces of my recent group and looking for better ideas to consolidate. So Sheila, I do have an Excel spreadsheet that I prepared for you, and it's in Group Sales Bootcamp. You can download. I put the math into it. It's built in, and you can customize, tailor for your use. It's there, right there. Now, if you're not a confident Excel spreadsheet user, you may want to ask your accountant or ask somebody who's an Excel spreadsheet expert, because it's worth the money. to use it. So there is an example, and I'm being very frank with you. The one I have in boot camp is the exact same form that I used for my river cruise group, my Ama Christina partial ship charter group. Okay, and for the same thing for the MORE retreat, the Mastermind Owners Retreat for Entrepreneurs. Mike and I use the same spreadsheet. So if you have a hard time finding it for whatever reason, she'll let me know, and I'll be happy to send it to you. I want you to use it. It's critical. Gail said, I tell clients that the next payment will be charged to the card on file unless they hear from them by a specific date. I don't want to be tracking folks down. This makes them come to me. I always send a reminder that the charge will be posted soon. Gail, you're right on the money. So it's almost like they're subscribing, if you will. Now you need to get their e-signature. You need to get their written permission to tap their card that you have on file. Now that means, Gail, that you have access to a merchant account. Merchant account may be yours, or maybe it's a shared account that you can use from your host or from your franchise. I don't know. And you know, there's also, so here, friends, I'm gonna tell you something. I use PayPal, and PayPal really frowns upon the travel industry because it's so high risk. So if there's a PayPal executive watching right now, I could be in big trouble. But frankly, I've been using, you know, PayPal for a bazillion years, and I have almost no chargeback. The only time I get a chargeback is when somebody doesn't recognize it on their credit card bill. It says SLC ETC, right? So they freak out, they do a chargeback. I'm like, it's me. They're like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And then months and months of fighting this proceeds. In any case, you don't want to hear my troubles and woes. I think it's a great idea, Gail. But if you were using a system, then you can actually have it generate the invoice or have it do the billing automatically. Like, for instance, people who join Group Sales Bootcamp, some of you have already done this. Rather than paying the $800 up front, you opt for $200 a month, and I don't do anything. PayPal charges me $19.99 a month for the subscription services, so it auto bills. And Gail, this is one final point, which is that when one of my clients, in this case a travel entrepreneur, opts in for this subscription, for this, you know, 4-part billing, then they have to agree to it. Yes, I agree that my card will be charged a total of 4 times. 200 times 4 is 800. So there's a protection device built in. So Gail, way to go. Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up to you that you are planning ahead so that you're not hunting down the people for their credit card and you got to go through the process again, which also means if you're storing their credit card, it needs to be stored hyper securely, ultra securely. You know that. And if using a website for this, it needs to, of course, be HTTPS secure. Kay said, do you have the online form? Where do I get them? Kay, it's in bootcamp. I don't remember what week. It's either week 2 or 3. I don't remember, but I am happy to repost it in the Facebook group. If it's been a while, you don't remember where it is, not a problem. Gail said, what tool would you suggest for a group Q&A? Great question, Gail. So for Q&A, Gail, the first thing, and listen everybody, the first thing I would consider is, where do they hang out? Because every group you do, they may hang out someplace different. For instance, are the majority of them on Facebook? The easy answer there is create a private Facebook group. It's a closed group like Bootcamp, and only those paid clients can get in, and it's the perfect place to do it, especially because everyone can see it and they get notified when there's a post. You know, it's a beautiful thing, really, and it's free if you're comfortable with Facebook. Some of you say, oh, I don't go near the thing. Now, maybe they don't hang out there. So maybe if you have access to a platform like GoToWebinar or Zoom or if you use Skype, if you have some of these online platforms, some of them have the ability to do some free stuff. Some you have to pay. I know it's expensive. It's a big commitment. Then that you can do it there too. You can have once a month or once a week, especially as you get closer. Okay, and I did this with my group. You know, from 7 to 8 every Wednesday, I'm going to fire it up, and whoever comes, comes. You know, and friends, if you don't, you can tell them if you don't have a question, tune in anyway, because maybe somebody else has a question you want an answer to as well. But if you're going to do it, Gail, also don't just say, hey, it's Q&A time. Say, I will start off with 5 minutes or 10 minutes of update, an important update message, because you want to make it attractive and appealing for them to come, whether or not they have specific questions. And I'm sure there's updates you have. I'm sure there's stuff that you are continuously selling. And remember that pre-excursion is still available. I have 2 seats open. And of course, you can always do it by phone, a conference call. Free conference call. Is it freeconference.com or freeconferencecall.com? I don't remember. Pepperidge Farm does. And you can do it by phone. I believe that with all the tools we have today, that you should do it video based if you can, friends. And especially if it's Facebook, you can do Facebook Live. And I know some of you are cringing. I don't want to be seen on camera. Well, I'm sorry, but you may have to. You've got I know it. You've got a beautiful face, a beautiful voice. Just you be you and have fun. Jennifer said, great list of priorities. Cool. Glad you like it, Jennifer. New boot camp member. Mimi's in the house. Hello, Mimi. Stuart, with no group experience, this is very helpful. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Hans. And then I'm going to go to Scott's question, and then we're going to go back to the question board. And Nancy, I hope I want to be able to put your mic on, because I love it when we hear someone talking on the show. Hans and Stuart, I have had my most successful group to date. 20 cruise balcony cabins reserved during our 15-day VIP sale. Yes! If I could stand up without having the earplugs ripped out of my ears, I would do the happy dance for you, Hans. We love celebrating success here. I attribute this to a very good and aggressive group leader and the VIP sale, which is part of the group launch sequence. We are now moving on to opening up the group to other people than the VIPers. I shouldn't say the VIPers. Let's just say the VIPs. This information will be very helpful in managing this group. Cool, Hans. Thank you for sharing your success and for confirming that one of the great ingredients of the launch, of the group launch sequence that I teach, is the VIP sale. Well done. Barbara said, my group trips always fall apart. Don't know what I'm doing wrong. Barbara, I don't know either, but it could be a myriad of reasons. And I wish I could help you, because sometimes, with intuition, we can see, maybe the affinity at the very start of it. Was the affinity strong enough? And what is the definition of an affinity group? Means that people want to be together, come together, whether they know each other or not, because there's such a compelling reason for them to want to travel with these people on this date, pay this price on this ship or this hotel, go to this destination, this time of the year. Think about it. To ask people to go on a group trip, you need so many people to be aligned to say, yeah, I can't miss this. We got to be there. So, Barbara, let's go all the way back without my chair tipping over. Was the affinity strong enough? And did you do the group launch sequence? And if it was a price thing, did you do a package versus selling a bare bones stripped down off the shelf product? Sheila said, thanks. I have to go back and redo the boot set. You bet it. You go back and do it again, Sheila. Jennifer said, I'm a former CPA who is happy to assist anyone in customizing their group spreadsheets. Jennifer, man, I'm going to give you a big generosity shout out. Thank you very much for offering. That's what I love about the boot camp, is that everyone helps everybody. This is so awesome. So Jennifer is a former CPA. So I mean, that's your comfort zone. And Dan said he uses Travel Joy for this purpose. Awesome product. In fact, I had the CEO of Travel Joy in Group Sales Success Summit, I think 1. Remember, he's a great guy. Dan said, but I'm charging direct to the vendor, so it isn't me charging to my account. Great. Okay, I'm going to get to Scott's, and then Nancy, we're going to go to you. So Scott, Dream Vacations, he asked this question. It's a big question. So I could spend not just 1 hour, but 2 hours on this. How do you handle shoppers? And Nancy, I'm going to come to you next. Hang on. How do you handle shoppers? Wow, that's huge. I want you to know that I've been hired by companies and paid, no joke, $6,000 to $7,500 to do 1 hour of training. And I actually wrote a book on it, how to turn inbox leads into sales, which are the shoppers. So I just want to read you a couple things real here, because friends, number one thing is that without shoppers, we're nowhere. We're done. The shoppers are critical. They're a part of our business. They're a part of our world, and we want to be encouraging that. So the most important thing, Scott and everybody, is we need to reframe our thinking about shoppers. So let me just read this to you real quick. All travel entrepreneurs put a contact me button online or on your business card. And the mission is to attract email leads to make new sales. Okay, then basically you're encouraging browsers to ask for help. But let's be honest, when a new lead drops in the box, do you get excited or stressed? I mean, most people these days take the easy way and just send an email. Hey, can you give me a price on this cruise, right? Rarely do they pick up the phone these days. Problem is, most travel entrepreneurs seem to get stressed and irritated. E-leads are widely viewed in many industries as time wasting, interruptions, tire kickers that really turn into sales. But here's my twist. I believe the person sending the e-lead is actually more frustrated than you. Why on earth, though, would a consumer complete a contact me form as a joke? It's not like a ring and run. I mean, who has time for that? Which means that they're serious. I believe e-leads are terribly prejudged and classified as junk unnecessarily. In turn, they get little respect and are treated poorly. So what I want you to do, Scott and everybody, is when you see that lead or hear them on the phone or see it drop in the box, think of them as a real person. As a real person. And here, they drop in the box. Think of them as a person. I am your e-lead. I just landed in your inbox. So you're happy to see me, or are you stressed already? What's so bad about me? What's so good about me? I don't know you. You don't know me. But you've got something. Listen to me, Scott, everybody. I'm the lead that just dropped in the box. I've got something that you've got something I want. And I've got something you want. Why can't we all just get along? Why on earth would you say contact me if you freak out every time an e-lead takes you up on the offer to help? So in summary, either you want me or you don't. So either put both feet in or both feet out. I've got both feet in. I need a vacation. I expect you to have both feet in too. I'm not going to read the whole book to you naturally, but the whole concept here is just go into empathy mode, saying, oh man, if they're calling me, that means they are afraid, they fear doing it on their own. They need me, the travel, now I'm the travel entrepreneur, to make sure they don't make a mistake, they don't miss a thing. I'm the leader, I'm the trusted travel advisor who can help you. And I know what you're saying, Scott and everybody else, but Stuart, what if they just want a price? You don't give it to them. Hey, listen, if you want a price, there's 50,000 places online you can get a price. I'm not the guy or the gal to give you the cheapest price. I don't do cheap. My clients don't want cheap. They want great value. And I just don't sell cheap. So my clients prefer that I include things that they would end up buying when they get there. Because if you buy cheap, by the time you get there and come home, you'll end up spending a lot more than you anticipated or missing out. So if it's a cost issue, sure, you can find this cruise or this motor coach tour or this hotel at a lower cost, 50,000 other places. But when you come home, your disappointment cost will be higher. I don't let my clients get disappointed. So I know you're shopping. Let me ask you, Mr. How many other travel agents have you called? 12? Good. Well, you call all you want. But at the end of the day, I will probably be higher priced because I will give you a more inclusive trip. So to bottom line, and Nancy, hang on, Nancy, I'm going to turn your microphone on in 5 seconds. I get shoppers too who are looking for a speaker. And I treat it with gold, because you never know. They could end up being a client for years and years and hire me to keynote and workshop and do webinars. And we don't know until we get them on the phone. I think if we're asking for shoppers to contact me, then we need to give them over the top enthusiasm and excitement, because if they don't know who you are, they are significantly more nervous and stressed and frustrated, because maybe they worked with an agent before who let them down, or maybe they've never worked with an agent before and they're really nervous about doing it for the first time. Okay, Nancy, hold on, Nancy. I'm going to try to get to you to turn on your mic. We got 4 minutes, and I know we could do it. And by the way, if you typed in a question that I didn't get to, because there's a lot coming in there, then Nancy, I see you logged in twice. Let me see here. Unmute. All right, let's see if this works, Nancy. I've just unmuted you. You tell me if it works. I don't know.
Hello.
Nancy.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi.
How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Good. Well, I'm just very busy, thanks to you, partially. But also, I have a couple of little tales to tell. One, I think I may have mentioned before that I work with affinity groups a little bit, and my group went to Tanzania in January, and 7 of 7 people summited Kilimanjaro successfully. So that was really good. It was a little bit of a challenge working with this trip leader, because he's used to going on his own and not having a group behind him. But once they got there, he was a terrific trip leader. He also doesn't have the automation, MailChimp, that type of stuff nailed down yet. So there were little challenges here and there, but there were also 5 other people that didn't want to climb that joined the group later and stayed beyond for safari, and then 7 of the 2 climbers and 5 other people went to Zanzibar for 5 days after. So we coordinated all of that as well, which was great.
Congratulations.
Yeah. The little scary story I have to tell you is last weekend, February 7th, 8th, and 9th, I took my 6th annual bus trip from Portland, Maine up to Quebec City for the Winter Carnival.
Okay.
Had enough people, had a large coach, 56-seat coach, and had set it up to go with 20. So the minimum of 20 is a guaranteed departure. Okay. And that seems to work out pretty well. However, that Thursday night and Friday, there was ice storms and snow, and it was just really touch and go. But it was hard for me to consider canceling, because the bus company was not canceling, and we were all under contract with the hotel I'd already paid. So we went. It took a long time, and then 25 miles south of Quebec City, the highway closed. And so we had to get off the highway and went to McDonald's for the second time, because we had done a pit stop in McDonald's, a few hours prior. So went to a different McDonald's, stayed inside. Everyone speaks French there. There luckily was one woman on our bus who's from France, spoke fluent French, and she helped me. People came in the first hour, everyone was like just glad to be off the bus and in a warm, dry place. And then it started, there was like, well, what are we doing now? This person said this person said that. And I'll tell you, Stuart, it was really trying for me to be steady, but we did it, and the bus driver was amazing. And he and I, through this other woman translator, were able to talk to the manager of McDonald's, the convenience store manager, and just kind of pacify the 30 plus people that were like, what are we doing? What's going on? I said, aren't you glad we're inside right now and safe and warm? Look outside. It's blowing 40 miles an hour, and we're not on the bus. We're in here. So that's what I kept saying. And it worked out that 2.5 hours later, we were able to get back on the bus and take a side road over. Yeah. And the bridge opened up. Everything worked out. And a group, 4 women that were with us at McDonald's that were not on my bus, were from the same part of Maine, showed up at the Chateau Frontenac and were checking in behind me. And I said, hey, you guys made it. And they're like, we followed your bus. Oh. So that worked out good. But I just wanted to share that with everybody to say, you're the group leader, you're the logistical coordinator, whether at affinity group or a group, you really have to keep your cool, because that's really important, even when.
I appreciate this, Nancy. I need to wrap up because we're at time, but this is very important story, friends. So let me wrap up with this. Hang on. Class not dismissed yet. We're going a minute or two over. Grant me that. I never go over, but this is important. So what Nancy has demonstrated, here's the lessons, okay? Number one, Nancy was there. Could you imagine if Nancy was not there? So friends, you can't decide to go and escort yourself to be with the group just based on headcount, because this wasn't necessarily a 50, 100 person, 200 person group, but it comes down to the complexity of the group and the risk chance that if you can be there or somebody you hire to be there, it's critical. Nancy wasn't there. This thing could have been a real mess, and her business that group could have been done and over. Number two, you have to anticipate what can go wrong. Talk to the driver, talk to the bus company, think, weather conditions. I mean, river cruises, friends. If that river is high, you're getting off that river cruise and you're going on a motor coach to meet up with another ship. Things are going to change. And a great way to nail this in advance is when you're talking to the people, say, listen, friends, let's talk about the risks in travel. We can't control the weather. We can't control road closures. I'm going to be there with you. And should something go, we're going to be flexible. We're going to be fluid, but trust me, everything's going to be just fine. And final word is insurance. Make sure you and everything you can possibly insure, including them, is insured just in case things have to change so dramatically that people cancel, you have to reschedule or whatever. So I hope I've sort of consolidated, sort of a wrap up. There's a lot of lessons there, Nancy, but congratulations for your leadership skills, for the fact that you showed confidence when inside you were like, you were sweating, oh my gosh. And as Kimberly says, my wife says, and it all worked out. So congratulations. Thank you for sharing, Nancy. All right, everybody, we're going to call it a day right now because we're 3 minutes over. Thanks for granting me that. I'm going to go back and see if you posted something after, and I will reply to you in one of the Facebook groups. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I'm Stuart. This has been the Power Hour.